What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi. I am doing the QL TV show for you. We're starting a couple minutes early, so we might just restart again in a minute. But I wanted to give people some time to get in the chat room, come in and say what's up. Please give us the like, the thumbs up. We appreciate it. We've got a really easy slate to break down today, which is a good thing because I'm very under the weather. But we've got a nice little interesting DFS slate and some really good sports bets, just like straight up bets that I think are really interesting. I wanted to start that off real quick and we'll talk about it in a minute. But again, I'm going to wait for a few people to jump on in the chat room. Remember, get your QQs ready. Make sure to like and subscribe, and say hello once you come on in the chat room. We'll start it off that way. We're basically going to restart the show in just about a minute, but I wanted to get a few minutes again for people to come have a chance to come get on in here. We have one free game of the day up here on BetQL. That's a game we're going to be featuring. Now, we are way on the Atlanta Hawks over the Hornets to cover in this matchup by like absolutely a ton. And I'm completely on board with that. We have a 5-star bet. We think the spread should be 6.5, which we got it at 4.5 right now. That's our projected outcome. I really like the Hawks in this spot, and I think this is a really good spot to take advantage. This is obviously going to be the chalkiest game for DFS purposes, outside of the Bledsoe Middleton situation, which we can get into. But I want to just highlight this. Again, want to say, guys, thanks so much for joining us. We started a couple minutes early, so now we're actually going to really get things going. We want to give people some chance to get in the room. It usually takes about 10 minutes till we get near our peak viewers for the show. So they'll come on in. We got people coming into chat right now. Cody Mayfield said, "What's up? What's up, Cody?" Abrasive, happy Monday, Abrasive, and Kenneth Jones as back as usual. You guys, great to have you guys back. Remember to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And we're going to get into some straight sports bets. We're going to get into some DFS. I'll show you my lineups on DraftKings and FanDuel. It's obviously the one bit of advice I like to give people on these 3-game slates from a DFS standpoint. Let's really try to be careful with our bankroll. Don't go crazy tonight. This is not when you try and make $1 million. You're going to have to take some pretty extreme stances on some not such optimal plays if you want to have a chance of winning a tournament. So this slate actually kind of offers some of that, and we'll get into it as I go through my lineups. But real quick, I just wanted to scroll through, see if there's anything else. We have this game as a monster bet, obviously, on the Hawks side. But one thing I'm curious about is let's see what the public and the sharps think about this bet. I would guess that they would be with us on this, just the way that it's breaking out. Oops, I hit the NCAA basketball instead of NBA. Sorry, guys, I'm giving away the free information. Anyway, but you can see the public bets are probably, I'm going to guess they're going to be on, oh, wow, they're actually with the Hornets in this one. That's sort of surprising to me. Let's see what the sharps think. Because we have a pretty significant spread, which tends to often correlate to where the public betting and the sharp bets go, but it doesn't always. And we've got, you see that over here, the money's on the Hawks from the sharp side, 13%. So that's something that's worth keeping in mind. Again, we love the Hawks minus 4.5. I'm going to put $100 on this game myself. I'm not going to go crazy with it. Not going to bet 1,000. These teams are too bad to really have that much faith in them. But I have enough faith to feel very comfortable making that bet, and it's one that I like to pull the trigger on tonight. Let me know what games are your guys' favorite, both from a DFS and from a straight sports betting standpoint. It's really important. I wanted to also cover a few things that we've got over here at BetQL. We changed the pricing structure, so make sure if you go to betql.co, enter code BobbyFi, you can join for 30%. You get 30% off your first month. Even if you're only going to sign up for a few months, we're not going to lock you into a year-long deal. This is going to be a flexible thing. The pricing is much better. I'm telling you, it pays for itself anyway because all these 4- and 5-star games, I just take what BetQL says to do and I do it. Sure, it doesn't win every time, but I'm up. I think I want to say about 3 times what I started off with. I guess it was basically since the All-Star break that we started this. So been really, really good. Now is the perfect time, though, to lock in your annual VIP all-sport package at BetQL for a discounted rate. I also wanted to mention that RotoQL, BetQL app, make sure you get those apps. Make sure you've got them. They're free. There's nothing to sign up for, but it's just a handy little tool is what the best way I can describe it. Gonna jump back in here to chat real quick. I got Eric Johnson asking. Eric, good to have you back here, buddy. Always happy to have you in the chat. My favorite game to stack today, unfortunately, the best game to stack is the Charlotte Atlanta game. But we should look at this from a little bit of a different perspective. All these totals are very similar, and you're going to have so much lower ownership, especially on a site like DraftKings, because of the pricing for some of these Raptors and Jazz. And I just want to make it clear. This is not the Jazz from 2 years ago that plays slow and plays great defense. They don't play defense, especially as long as Mike Conley's out there. The Raptors play fast. They play good defense, but they play pretty fast. So I think this game actually that's sort of the one I would target. I think it's easier and it's going to be popular on FanDuel, But on DraftKings, like to overpay for Lowry, to overpay for Siakam, or seemingly overpay, I think that's what you want to do on this slate because you want to get somebody who's at lower ownership who has a chance to really crush for you. And we go to a guy like I'll show you some of my mock builds, my first early on builds on DraftKings. We've got Kyle Lowry over here, and I just think that this guy's put up 50 back-to-back games. He's going to be unowned on a 3-game slate. He put up 53 and 56 his last two. Like I said, the matchup against Conley, well, it might look like a bad matchup. I think it's an exceptional one. Don't forget Conley hasn't been there all year. The team is much better defensively when he's out. So I really like Lowry as sort of like an odd play. The guys who I'm going to have I'll have at least one of Bridges or Washington in all of my lineups, and I'll probably have both or three or even three Hornets, three Hornets in some of my lineups. But I mean, take a quick look. I'll leave it up on the screen. You guys can sort of ask some questions, some thoughts. There's some things I want to change about it, but you can see Jokic at high ownership. I'm sort of trying to avoid and trying to get there with Lowry or Siakam instead. I just don't want to play the incredibly high ownership. I even threw Pat Connaughton in this, sort of a little bit of a wild card. I do want to mention that the Bucks are on a back-to-back and they're on the 3rd and 4 days, and they're going out west to Utah. This is a tough spot for them without Giannis. So they're a good team. I believe in them, but I think it's worth it to speculate on guys I like DiVincenzo a lot. I like Pat Connaughton a little bit. I think that taking a shot with some of those guys, Marvin Williams on FanDuel, it might be worth it. I'm not as high on like Marvin Williams because of the age and all that stuff and how many minutes he plays. But I really do think that there's something to be said for taking a shot with Pat Connaughton or DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo is the much more logical, much higher owned play. Connaughton is the long shot that might help you win a tournament. Can't see the whole lineup. Sorry about that, Eric. I will scroll down and make sure you can. Want you guys to see everything. I mean, look, these are placeholder lineups. This is not what my end lineup is going to be, but this is what where I'm at right now. And real quickly, before we get back to some BetQL stuff, I wanted to show you as my DraftKings. I only built one mock FanDuel lineup so far. Now, it's a little chalky, except for this. I'm fading some of the heaviest chalk on the slate, which is going to be John Collins, which is going to be Nikola Jokic at center. I don't know that I can still end up pulling the trigger with this Cody Zeller play, but I think the upside allows you to make that call. I do have the 3 bigs from Charlotte in here, but you have Bridges really truly playing like the 3 anyway. So I'm actually okay with it. And I didn't put any of the guards in this particular lineup, even though I like them quite a bit. It just worked out kind of well for me to be able to play Lowry on one side and Beckett Mitchell on the other. And I've got Lowry, Siakam, and Ibaka in here. Trae Young and just running it back with the bigs from Charlotte. It's just a little bit of a different build. Like nobody in this lineup is everybody's chalky pretty much, but I'm fading so much other heavy chalk that I do think this build might be a little bit less owned. I don't know if it's enough to maybe to win me a tournament, but as of this time of the day, this is where I'm at right now. So wanted to touch on that stuff real quick, guys. Get some questions in. Throw the likes up. Really means a lot to us. We're doing these shows for free, so while we're doing it for free, all we ask is that you like and you subscribe to QLTV, and you definitely consider this one of the best products in the industry that BetQL is offering right now. Just from a straight sports betting standpoint, it has really completely made my life just absolutely a lot easier. Anyway, we're going to have some of the BetQL folk on the show this week with me. We're going to have some other guests. We're going to have Sheets come and visit in one of the shows. We're going to make this show fun. We got a lot of positive feedback about my buddy Matt Bellman, who came on the show last week. And we noticed that there was definitely a spike in viewers and definitely a lot more energy in chat, a lot of back and forth. I really like that dynamic. I like Matt. We'll have him back too at some point. We'll bring in some of the old RG folk at different points. Some of the guys who used to be RG guys that I'm still buddies with. And we'll make the show as fun and enjoyable as possible. Let us know some names that you would like to see from the DFS world in the BetQL show with us. Throw on some names out there, and we'll try and see the best I can do. But again, thumbs up really means a lot to me. Eric says, how many Hornets are too many Hornets? I would probably play up to 4 or 5. I don't mind all of them. I really don't mind playing 5 of them, to be honest. The matchup is supreme. The slate is small. I mostly have 3 or 4, but I do think 4 or 5 is completely fine on this slate. Absolutely fine with me. And as you can see, this is a game that, well, we like the game, and we actually like the over-under exactly. We basically have the exact same projection as the over-under. So I wouldn't really go betting heavy on that. You have Charlotte who plays so slow and Atlanta who plays so fast. But what I would be willing to do is make this 5-star bet for Atlanta. It's really nice of the people at BetQL to give us the 5-star game today because it does help a lot, and I think it's the best bet on the slate. I still feel like the Utah one is I'm interested. I'm sorry, the Bucks one, I said they flew to Utah, but the Bucks going into Denver. It's just there's just a lot of interesting things out there today. You can definitely go some different routes for DFS, but I don't think I would be putting money on either of those games. I don't really feel great about either of them. I actually think Utah's spread might be a little bit too high, so I might lean Raptors a little bit if I was going to make any bet there. And I think the Nuggets and the Bucks is probably a stay away, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets just beat up on them. Thoughts about fading Bledsoe and Middleton? Oh, there's the question we know we're going to get. We have to answer it. Again, sorry, guys, a little under the weather, so not bringing my best effort today, but we're fighting through. We're going to bring the best information we can. So I think Bledsoe is more fadeable than Middleton for a number of reasons. Middleton is more secure minutes. They actually run more of the offense through him. Bledsoe, they both make sense. I'm finding myself trying to fade Bledsoe a little bit just because of the ownership reasons. I do think while Middleton's a harder to fade, I think you can fade him on DK, but it doesn't feel optimal to me. So I'm probably just going to go with it and make some other different plays elsewhere. I don't feel great about fading either of them, but this game does have like alarm bell signs. 3 and 4 nights in Denver without Giannis, it feels like it could be maybe one of those blowouty games that you can get away with avoiding those guys, maybe playing a DiVincenzo or Connaughton instead or something like that. It's just, from a DFS perspective, I like that angle, but I don't like it. I don't know. I don't feel good about entirely fading both of them just because they're both going to be owned. It feels a little bit unnecessary. I think there's other ways you can pivot. We'll talk about some other low-owned guys that I do like tonight in just a minute. But let's see. Kenneth Jones having a hard time about what percentage to put Gary Harris in. Okay, so that's an interesting question. So Gary Harris is a guy who is not a good DFS play on large slates basically ever. Especially now. He used to be better. He won me a lot of money back in the day, but it's not. He just doesn't have the upside anymore. They don't run the offense through him or anything. He doesn't even get that many shots. He's semi-scoring dependent too, which is kind of sucks. He plays a lot of minutes. I think Gary Harris is the kind of guy you want to play on these kinds of slates. When you have a small slate like this and an unowned guy who's going to play 30 plus minutes, all it takes is for him to get a little bit hot. So I actually really like Gary Harris on this slate. If I was playing a bunch of lineups, I think I would go as high as 15 to 20% of them. Like, not crazy, but I like him. I think he's an interesting, completely unowned play that you're gonna be able to get 30 some odd minutes out of. And the last slate he was on that I played him, he put up 31 for me against Charlotte. 29 for me in Charlotte, and he's just coming off a game where he just put up 31 against Cleveland. Now he did shoot the ball well in these games. He made it 7 out of 8, 5 out of 11. That's nothing special. But he played 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 34 and a half minutes. Like, you're getting his minutes. He's been over 24 4 games in a row. I say now is the time to take a little Gary Harris. And you want to try and beat Milwaukee from the outside. He's a good shooter. Like, there's a lot of things to like about Gary Harris on this kind of a slate. So I'm really excited about it. I think that's a really good call by you to say you don't know how much. I would say 15 to 20%. I wouldn't go crazy with him, but I certainly would want to have some exposure because those minutes at that price, it's just, and I'm sorry, those minutes, that price, and that ownership are just sort of like the trifecta of perfection for how you try and win on these slates. Another guy I want to mention in that same vein is Royce O'Neal. These are not exciting plays. These are guys we ignore for DFS when there's big slates. But Royce O'Neal on a small slate and Joe Ingles are another guy who stands out a little bit. They're just cheap. They're going to play minutes. The opportunity is there for them. And they are going to be unowned compared to other guys who we're going to speculate on in their price range that are going to be much higher owned. So I just think it's probably worth noting on. Like, really, really keep that in mind. Again, guys, I want to remind you to please click the like button for us right now. Really means a lot to me. I would really appreciate it. So let's see. Do I think it's too cute playing MPJ or Plumlee? One day, Michael Porter Jr. is going to win somebody a tournament before the end of the season's over. It's a good question by Abrasive. Michael Porter Jr. is the man. He's gonna blow up if he ever gets the minutes. They're playing so poorly right now. I thought they would actually sort of inject him a little bit more, and they're not doing it with Millsap being back and Barton being healthy and Harris being there and Murray being back and all that. It's just I don't want him. I'm not that interested, but I do think he's a high upside, high risk play. I think he's going to win somebody a tournament at some point. Who will have more minutes? Willie Hernangomez or Cody? I would lean Cody, but again, it could definitely go either way here with these guys. And foul trouble is always hard to predict for big guys, so I'm leaning Cody personally. But I wouldn't mind if you want to go to the Hernangomez route. I just lean slightly Cody, and we don't know what's going to happen with Biyombo. Like, we haven't really got official word on that. He just doesn't play sometimes, and it's a tricky situation with the Charlotte bigs. The one thing is, I'll tell you what, Atlanta plays pretty big, so you're going to have some size out there. I don't think PJ Washington is the center that's going to be out there for you for the most part today, so keep that in mind. All right, let's see. We got a few more questions. Eric Johnson's asking about Cam Reddish. I think other people like Reddish better than I do tonight, but I'm okay with it. I think he's a solid play. He's going to be high owned. I would probably I have him in my script at like 20%. I think other people are going to play him a little bit more than that. Take a real quick at my ownership projections, and yeah, I think Cam is going to be a little bit higher than that. So I'll be just below the field on Cam Reddish, but I'm certainly fine with him. I'll have some exposure, but not too much. Let's see. We've got another question I think in here that I missed. Oh, maybe I got up to it actually. The Plumlee part of it. So I'm not playing Plumlee, but I get it on these kind of slates. Again, I like to emphasize that you don't need those guys to 10x all the time to get you there on these slates. And Plumlee certainly in short minutes can get there. I would prefer. I like Millsap. I know he's not way off the board or anything, but I do like Millsap tonight. Again, guys, click the like button for us. We're going to keep the show really quick today, so make sure if you do have questions to get in as much as you can, as fast as you can. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm sort of battling a little bit of the flu, so kind of feeling a little bit out of it. So not going to be doing more than probably another 5 or 10 minutes today. And I just want to again take that time to remind y'all, don't get heavily invested on these slates from a DFS perspective. I do want to talk about a couple other things from a BetQL perspective. Some of these recent trends we've got. The Bucks have lost consecutive games for the first time all season. Last night was the first time it allowed it to happen. So are they going to lose 3 in a row without Giannis? Well, yeah, one was with Giannis, but they might. Just interesting to note. The Hawks are 19-12 against the spread at home and 9-24 against the spread on the road. So the Hawks, we can trust them in Atlanta now. That's why we like them. That's another reason. Like I think they win this game against the Hornets. I think they win by more than 4.5. I'm making that bet myself, so I'm in on that. The over has hit in 4 straight Raptors road games. I think that is significant, and especially because people think the Jazz play slow. So if you think that game really will shoot out and be over that 224 mark, which we've got it, oddly the highest total of the night is Utah and Toronto. I like it. I like that game for DFS. You saw my lineups. I'm very interested, especially in the Raptors side. I wish I had more interest in the Jazz side, but I just don't find anybody that I'm in love with. I'm good with like Donovan Mitchell, but I don't feel great about anybody. Ingles is okay, Royce O'Neal's okay, but not overall the most exciting thing. And again, I want to thank the people from BetQL for putting that together for us because those are certainly valuable pieces of information. We watch the Hawks on the road; they might lose by 50 sometimes, but then you get them at home, and they're almost always pretty good, with the exception of that one game against Memphis last week. They're pretty solid at home, so safe bet there. I think they're safe to bet win this game. You could bet the money line, but I would just take this. I'd give up the points and don't feel problem. I know. I said the word flu. Whatever. What can you do, Sheets? What am I going to say? Anyway, we got JT Grizzle asking a question. Do we fade Bledsoe and Middleton to win a GPP? I think you want to try and throw that into one or two of your lineups if you're playing multiple entries. I mostly am playing one of them, and it's mostly Middleton. But I do think that absolutely, if you want to take that shot, that's okay with me. It's not like this is a must-win by any means for them. Like if they get down big early and the 3rd and 4 nights and playing up in the high altitude in Denver, it does make me start to feel like maybe we can get away more than I initially thought we could. And I definitely, again, I prefer to fade Bledsoe between the two. Tougher matchup for him. He's not as good a player. The minutes won't be as high as they will be for Middleton. He's the one I would lean towards fading first. And then if you want to try and build a lineup and fade both of them, I'm all for it. Go for it. But what I would recommend, there's a lot of guards in Milwaukee. That's partly why I don't like Bledsoe so much. So I would probably lean to go play Pat Connaughton if I was going to do something like that, or play Dante DiVincenzo. I don't think I would just ignore all of the Bucks. I think if I didn't play Middleton or Bledsoe, I would have to replace them with somebody else, because somebody's going to get their minutes usage-wise tonight probably, especially if those guys don't. Anyway. Abrasive, thanks a lot, buddy. I really appreciate it, the kind words. Again, before we get out of here, please give us the like and subscribe, give the thumbs up. If there's any specifically BetQL questions, I'm going to have some of the QL folks on with me tomorrow, so we can actually cover some more in-depth stuff about BetQL and RotoQL. But BetQL especially is what we want to focus on. Anyway, that's it. So we got that question. I think we're pretty much catching up a little bit. Again, want to say get the likes up there. We really want to do this about a 20-minute show today, so we're going to be out of here in a minute. I'm going to just sort of let you guys populate the chat if you have any questions, any thoughts. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me I'm great. Tell me the show's great. Tell me it's terrible. Tell me what we could change. Tell me who you'd like me to see me doing shows with. That's the one I'd really like to do. I'd like to get Sheets to weigh in on that. Everybody has told me they want Sheets in, so Sheets is in already. We're going to be doing shows. We do shows together every day, but we're going to be doing shows on QLTV. I got the permission from the QLTV folk. It's going to be a good time. Sheets is one of the ones that's in. We got another. We're going to have Matt Bellman back. He was great. We're going to have the QLTV folks on with us. That's going to be a lot of fun. You know what? You guys go out there, win a tournament. Let's do a live sweat show one of these days, and maybe we get to have you guys on. That'd be fun. Yeah, Sheets says the cure for the flu is winning a GPP. So let's go tonight, guys. Not playing a massive amount of lineups, but I do feel like I like the angle that I'm taking on the slate. On these little mini slates, it's funny. I've done well on them in the past, but it always feels like I've done badly because I make a huge pivot, from the whole field every time. I just think to play small slates and try and win GPPs, if you're not max entering, you have to make that huge play. And tonight, it's the Lowry guys like that. Gary Harris, we talked about as being sort of an off the board, Royce O'Neal, another off the board one. Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles would have won you. He almost won me a tournament on Friday. He was 0.7% owned, and he put up 40 fantasy points on FanDuel. That was beautiful. Eric, thanks a lot, buddy. I really appreciate that. Herder or PJ? That's a really good question. I like both of them. So I would lean on DraftKings. I would lean PJ. I would lean Herder on FanDuel. I like PJ and FanDuel also. But I do like Herder better on FanDuel because he's got that 5K price, that nice little, can easily hit that, doesn't even hit his ceiling. Can hit 30 fantasy points for you and you're living large. You're feeling good. All right, guys, but keep weighing in. We got Eric says he's camera shy. We won't make you come on. We're not going to force you guys to come on, but we want to know if you guys want to come on, or who do you want to see? Throw it in the chat. Who else in the industry? Even guys who work for other sites. That's not going to last forever. You know what I mean? There's turnover in this industry. People don't stay with the same sites forever. So we're going to have some really good guests coming to you really soon. Again, want to thank the people at BetQL for putting together today's show notes. Dan, if you're out there, appreciate you, buddy. Sorry not to have more of a live, a really, really in-depth show for you guys today. It's not my best effort. I'm trying to bring it as much as I can, but seriously, I'm going to pass out right when we're done with this. I'm going to take another little nap. It'll be my third nap of the day. All right. Eric says he'd worry about any of the Toronto guys on the back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised to hear some things. That's a really good question. But as of right now, I'm going to assume that Freddie Van still sits, that Gasol probably plays limited minutes. If Gasol is out, Ibaka's already a good play, but if Gasol is out, Ibaka is really hard to fade. One of the things you might want to do if you're a little bit nervous about Toronto, I would try to throw in an Anunoby lineup or two. Let's see. I don't think he's going to be owned today much. And on these back-to-backs, I tend to like to play these young, active, sort of wild card guys. The matchup is not great for him, but I just think you're going to get another guy you're going to get no ownership from, who's going to play 35 minutes tonight. He's going to play 1,000,000 minutes. So let's get some Anunoby love out there. All right, let's see what else we got here. Worry about any Toronto. He asked me. I already answered that one. They do get 4 days out after today. Good piece of news, Eric. I actually had a note in my notes as 3, so appreciate that you corrected it. It's 4. So that's nice. Let's see. Live before NyQuil, she says Sheets. She's just pretty funny in these chat rooms, guys. Gasol played 16 minutes yesterday. I know. I'm not saying play Gasol. I wouldn't be surprised to hear he doesn't play or something, late or something. But I don't think it's relevant enough because we like Ibaka already anyway. Nobody that's super relevant is really scaring me. Norman Powell's kind of an interesting play on FanDuel. I don't like him. I always liked Norman Powell. He's always been a very good defender. He had a very inconsistent jump shot. Well, now he's got one of the most consistent jump shots in the NBA. And he's become a really good three-point shooter, 40% from 3. I think he's a guy you can dabble with a little bit tonight. Not a guy I usually would play for DFS, but tonight might be a good night for it. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here in just a minute. I'm going to leave the chat room open in case you want to answer any questions, get some ideas of who else you'd like me to do the show with. Please give us the like before you get out of here. It means a lot to us. We're doing these shows for free, so we'd love for you to do that. Also, head over to betql.co, enter code Bobby5 for your first 30% off your first month. And let's get it rolling, guys. Let's make some money tonight. Any other questions, you can hit me up directly on Twitter. Make sure you're also following BetQL, the BetQL app on Twitter. That's what it is, at BetQL app, and at RotoQL app. Those are the other 2 things I would recommend that you follow. We're building this stuff slowly but surely. While we're getting 20 to 30 views live at a time, we did have 150, I think, rewatches of the last show we did, which is definitely encouraging. We just started this, so it's going to take a while to build the entire fan base. But I really appreciate those of you who have stuck with me, have been with me from the RG days, when I did my own show days, my own site, Fantasy Bet Talk, a long time ago. We're going to make this into a big thing. And in the meantime, I just really would encourage you guys to really pick my brain and really poke and prod and everything. I'm not always going to be able to be so responsive to you guys as I am right now. So while we have lower viewers right now, make sure to really get those questions out there, get your thoughts out there. Let's get it back and forth. We're here to make you better at DFS, to help you win money on betting on sports, but using BetQL and RotoQL. But we want to make you overall a winning player, and I'm here to do that. So thanks a lot, guys. Cody Mayfield asked Trey or Lowry on FanDuel. My current build has both of them. I think Trey's going to be crazy high owned. Lowry will have ownership, and then I think you get a little bit you'll have a little bit less ownership on FanDuel for Eric Bledsoe. I think that I prefer Lowry tonight. Feels weird to say that they're incredibly different price tiers. I think Trey is this better, safer play to get to 50 for sure. But I like Lowry factoring in ownership and all things being considered. I think he gets to 40 almost all the time here. I really like him. Again, want to remind you guys about the thumbs up. It really means a lot to us. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys, just go ahead and enter some questions in the chat. I'll leave it open and I'll answer those questions for you guys over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. Other than that, I want to say thanks so much to the people at BetQL, RotoQL. Thanks so much to you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you at the top of the leaderboards tonight. And we will see you with some printing some money after you bet on the Hawks to cover against the Hornets tonight. Thanks a lot, guys. We will see you tomorrow.